What if the gap between your God-given dream and your lived reality isn't faith, it's vehicle? Today, I'm going to show you why Jesus' command to do business until I come is not a footnote, it's a framework. Why selling isn't selfish, it's stewardship. And why the most practical path for modern believers is a digital product business built from your God-given wisdom. And by the end of this video and the end of this teaching, you'll have a 7-day action plan, 3 story-driven examples to model, and a checklist to launch without a big audience. Let's go.
Welcome to the Mark Casto program, where we challenge the old systems, tear down chaos, and build with kingdom clarity. Here, we equip a generation of wise messengers like you to turn God-given wisdom into lasting impact and real wealth. Let's dive in.
See, guys, there's this interesting passage in the scripture. If you want to look at it, it's in Luke 19, and it's the parable of a prince and his servant. And Jesus tells a story in this passage about a nobleman hands resources to his servants and says, do business until I come. I want to read this to you. So Jesus is there with a crowd of people, and it says that he began to tell them this story. This is Luke 19, verse 12. So once there was a wealthy prince who left his province to travel to a distant land where he would be crowned king and then return. And before he departed, he summons his 10 servants together and said, I'm entrusting each of you with $50,000 to trade while I am away. Invest it and put the money to work until I return. Many of you know the story. There were some that did right. There was one that did wrong. But this is what it says at the very end of the story. Jesus says in Luke 19, verse 26, but to all who have been faithful with what they've been given, even more will be given to them. And for the ones who have nothing, even the little they seem to have will be taken from them. So this is a parable about stewardship. And so Jesus literally is giving them an example, like, while I'm away, I want you to do business until I come. He doesn't say hide it. He doesn't say wait it out or survive on miracles. He commands enterprise, okay? That Greek word there, I believe you say it pragmatia, means to do business, okay? It means to trade, value creation, multiplication. Guys, that's discipleship in the marketplace. Then you take a verse like Proverbs 11:26, and Proverbs 11:26, if you've never read this verse, it's super powerful. It says, people curse the one who withholds grain, but blessing rests on the head of the one, listen to this, who sells it. See, selling in Scripture is not greed, it's distribution of provision. If God placed grain, which today I believe is wisdom, skill, solutions, and if he put that in your silo, withholding it is a completely selfish move. See, selling it with integrity blesses you and the people that you serve. Guys, let me just anchor you in a few more verses here, okay? The scripture says in Deuteronomy 8:18 that God actually gives you and I, the power to get wealth to establish his covenant. See, guys, wealth is a tool for kingdom purposes. Then if you look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 28, one of the first commands that he gives to man is to be fruitful, multiply, subdue. Guys, that is a co-laboring buildership mandate. Guys, that's right at the beginning for what man was created to do. Then you have Matthew 25. I use this parable almost in every teaching that I do, hoping that it really gets deep into your heart. Guys, the master in the story praises the servants who were multipliers, not people who buried the money just to keep it. See, the kingdom of God is about advancing and multiplication. Guys, for many believers, business is the ordinary means that God uses to turn revealed dreams into resourced realities. I'm going to say that again. Business is God's ordinary means to turn revealed dreams into resourced realities. But many of us are stuck in this manna versus management. See, manna is emergency provision. We all know the story of the children of Israel when they wandered in the desert after their deliverance from Egypt. And while they were in the wilderness, God provided manna. But manna is emergency provision. Manna is what we have for day-to-day survival. But I believe we're being moved from manna over here to being mature sons and daughters who understand management, managing vineyards, managing storehouses, managing systems, managing teams, managing cash flow. See, most Christians pray for manna when God is inviting them into stewardship, into management. See, business is how you move from event-based miracles to routine fruitfulness. I'm going to give you the illustration. I'll call this the pantry versus the pipeline, okay? I want you to picture two families living side by side, okay? Family one has a pantry. Every morning, this is what they pray. God, please let there be food today. And by some miracle, they find enough bread or rice to feed the kids that night. They rejoice, they thank God, but the next morning, guess what? The pantry's empty again, and they're back at square one. See, friend, that's survival. But family two, they once prayed the same prayers, but instead of stopping at survival, they decided to dig. They rolled up their sleeves, and for weeks, they labored until they struck water. And then they did something that most people don't do. They laid pipe. At first, it seemed slow. To other people, it even seemed foolish. While the first family had bread on the table each night, the second family was sweaty, dirty, and exhausted, coming home from digging trenches. People laughed. Why are you wasting time with all that pipe? Just pray for more manna. But then the day came. The pipeline was finished. And while one family was still waking up every morning desperate for food, the other family had a steady flow of water that irrigated crops, filled jars, and overflowed into the neighborhood. Their kids weren't just fed for the night. They had enough to plant vineyards and raise livestock and feed entire villages. Here's my point with that illustration. Prayer fills the pantry, and thank God for it. He still meets us in the emergencies. But business builds the pipeline. See, when you engage your wisdom, your skill, your creativity in the marketplace, you're building systems that keep flowing long after the miracle moment has passed. See, God uses both, but He rarely calls you to live your whole life from the pantry when He's giving you the grace to build a pipeline. And that's what Proverbs 11:26, that's what makes it so powerful, is people curse the one who withholds grain, but blessing rests on the head of the one who sells it. The pantry mindset is just enough for me. But the pipeline mindset is, how can I build systems that bless entire cities? See, guys, that's what business really is. At its core, business is not about greed, manipulation, or chasing dollars. Business is simply this, and I want you to write this down. Business is solving a painful problem so clearly and so effectively that people are actually relieved to say thank you in dollars. See, money then isn't the mission. It's just the receipt that says, yes, you made my life better. Yes, you solved my problem. I want you to think about it, okay? The coffee shop owner, she's not just selling caffeine. She's selling margin for the exhausted mom who hasn't slept in 3 nights with a newborn. That latte is permission to breathe again. When she swipes her card, I've seen people do this in the coffee shop. When she swipes her card, she isn't thinking, this greedy cafe owner. She's thinking, thank you for helping me survive today. I've seen it happen. What about the auto mechanic? You don't walk in with joy, you walk in with stress. Car won't start, kids are late to school, work is on the line. But when the mechanic diagnoses the issue and hands you back your keys, you gladly hand him dollars. Why? Because he didn't take from you. He gave you back peace of mind and reliability. Think about the tutor. A high schooler's failing math. feeling stupid, ready to give up. A tutor steps in, breaks it down, and restores confidence. And when the parents write the check, they aren't angry, saying, "How dare you help my kid get a breakthrough in his education?" No, they're grateful. That check is a thank you note in dollar form for restoring their child's hope. And now let's talk about you, the author, the entrepreneur, the speaker. Your digital product, you take someone who feels stuck, confused, or overwhelmed. Maybe it's an aspiring author who has 200 pages of notes, but no clue how to publish, or a kingdom entrepreneur who's been stuck trading hours for dollars with no idea how to scale, and you hand them a roadmap. That's what I do every single day. And suddenly what felt impossible becomes doable. And when they pay me, it's not greed, it's gratitude. They're saying, "Thank you for saving me years of trial and error." I hope you're starting to see the pattern here, okay? Business is service at scale. It's how you love your neighbor with systems and solutions. And here's the kingdom secret that I want you to hear. Money isn't the point. Transformation is. Money is just the receipt that says transformation has occurred. Guys, Hannah's a homeschool mom who's been journaling devotions for overwhelmed mothers for years. She kept withholding. Who am I to charge for this? Until I helped her see Proverbs 11:26. If you don't bring your grain to the market, moms go hungry for the very help God gave you to bake. So her steps, I want you to watch this, are this. Number one, turn 20 devotions into a 14-day challenge. Make a PDF and 15-minute daily audios to go with it. Step number two, we're going to price it at $37. She launches it to 112 people on her email and Facebook friend list. 23 people bought in 72 hours. Then we helped her create a $97 VIP journal and live Q&A. Eight people upgraded. Now she's got $776. In total, in a week, she made $1,627. But more important than the money, anybody would love an extra $1,600 in a week. But more importantly, testimonies of moms sleeping through the night for the first time in months. Hannah said, "I thought charging was selfish. Turns out withholding was." Guys, you got to get this. So now, let me give you the 5 kingdom reasons every Christian should have a business. Let's start with number 1. Most of us grew up in a world where provision meant either working for someone else's vision, clocking in for a paycheck, or waiting for a donor to bless us. Now, that mostly relates to pastors, church leaders, people that I'm talking to that work in ministry. Okay? But business creates provision on an entirely different plane. You exchange real value for real value. Think of the widow in 2 Kings. The scripture says in 2 Kings 4, she had nothing but a jar of oil. That's not nothing, by the way, but many times we think the little thing that's in our hand is nothing. But the scripture says she had nothing but a jar of oil. Elisha didn't tell her, "Pray harder until manna drops." He told her, "Go, gather a bunch of vessels, pour the oil that you have into those vessels, then go and sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left." See, friend, that wasn't manipulation. That was marketplace integrity. See, when you start a business, you no longer survive off of favors. You're not begging for handouts. You're solving problems so well that people want to pay you. See, that's dignity. That's integrity. So think about it. A woman writes a $27 ebook teaching other moms how to meal prep in 2 hours. Her buyers don't resent her. They thank her. She's not exploiting them. She's exchanging. Here's my wisdom. Here's your time saved. See, that's provision with integrity. Secondly, time freedom for assignment. One of the biggest lies in the church is that serving God means you have to sacrifice your calendar to someone else's time clock. See, but when you learn to build business and leverage business models, digital products, memberships, group programs. You literally buy back your time. You stop trading hours for dollars and you start multiplying your wisdom into assets that work even when you're not. See, the Apostle Paul was a tent maker. Why? So he wouldn't be controlled by patrons or Roman systems. His trade bought him freedom to travel, plant churches, and disciple. Guys, I know a kingdom entrepreneur who built a $97 online challenge. He recorded it once, uploaded it, and hundreds of people now go through it while he sleeps. Instead of 60 coaching calls, he has one product serving thousands. Guys, that's not laziness, that's leverage. Hear me when I say that. That's the beauty of digital products. You create it once and it does work for you over and over again. And people look at people like myself who make a living online and you go, oh, those are just a bunch of lazy, lucky people. No, we're not. We just learned how to leverage our wisdom with today's technology. Friend, that's leverage. And that leverage freed the person I'm talking about to be at every soccer game for their kids and to say yes to mission trips without begging their boss for PTO. See, time freedom isn't selfish, it's stewardship. It's the only way you'll have enough margin to actually do the assignments God has placed on your life. Number 3, authority through outcomes. See, we live in an era where everyone talks. Social feeds are noisy, but business, it cuts through the noise because it produces tangible outcomes. See, Proverbs 22 verse 29 says this, "Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings." Skill and outcomes bring you into rooms that opinions never will. See, when you consistently solve problems in the marketplace, your results become apologetic. Your results become your apologetic. Nobody can argue with transformation. Guys, I know an author released a $47 course on how to self-publish a book in 90 days. Dozens of people followed, launched books, shared testimonies. Now when that author speaks on stages, she doesn't just bring opinions, she brings receipts. That track record creates authority, not the kind you demand, but the kind that flows from outcomes. See, authority is not a title, it's a testimony. And business gives you a field to prove what you carry. Number 4, multiplication on purpose. From the beginning, God's design was multiplication. Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth, subdue it. See, multiplication is not a prosperity gimmick. It's a kingdom principle. A sermon on Sunday morning might reach a few hundred. A book can reach thousands. A course can impact tens of thousands. A scalable program can transform nations. Think about Jesus. He fed the 5,000 not by handing out fish one by one, but by breaking bread in a system of distribution. Multiplication happened through organization. Guys, one of my clients turned his experience overcoming burnout into a digital workshop. He thought he'd maybe help 20 men. Instead, the replay has now been sold 1,500 times in less than a year. His story became a system, and that system multiplied. See, that's what business does. It turns what you carry into a structure that multiplies impact far beyond your personal capacity. Number 5, generosity on offense. Okay? Most Christians live generosity on defense. If I get a little extra, I'll give. But kingdom business flips it. I'll design my business so that generosity is built in. See, again, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the power to create wealth to establish his covenant. See, wealth isn't the finish line, it's the fuel line. I'm going to say it again. Wealth isn't the finish line, it's the fuel line. And when you have a business revenue that's flowing, generosity moves from someday to it's happening in a routine. You don't have to wait for a donor drive. You write the check. You don't have to sponsor a missionary. You put them on retainer. You don't pray someone else funds the orphanage. You do it. Guys, I know a Christian entrepreneur who built an online program teaching communication skills. He set a standard, 10% of every dollar funds clean water projects. Within 2 years, his business funded wells in 14 villages. He didn't wait for an offering plate. His business became the offering plate. See, guys, generosity on offense means you play proactive, not reactive. You don't just pray for kingdom solutions, you fund them. So why should every Christian have a business? Because business is integrity provision, time freedom, tested authority, purposeful multiplication, and offensive generosity. It's not about greed. It's about stewarding your wisdom to bless others and fulfill your assignment. Now, I know that you're thinking about this, and some of you are already going, well, selling feels unspiritual. Guys, this is probably one of the biggest strongholds in the church around money, and I know because I've been on hundreds of calls in the past 2 years. People hear sales, and they think manipulation, greed, or televangelist schemes. But let's go back to Proverbs 11:26. The people will curse him who withholds grain, but blessing will be on the head of him who sells it. Notice it doesn't say, blessed is the one who gives it away. It says blessing is on the seller. Why? Because selling is distribution. See, when Joseph stored up grain in Egypt, he didn't give it away for free in famine. He sold it. And that distribution literally saved nations. Imagine if he had refused to sell because it felt unspiritual, until generations would have starved. Guys, greed, if you think sales is greedy, listen to this. Greed is pricing without love. It's hoarding without care. Charity is pricing with love, with clarity, and with intent to serve. Selling with integrity is not exploitation, it's stewardship. Guys, a Christian counselor could build a $97 conflict reset mini course. And again, I've seen it. When this woman who is a Christian counselor built this $97 conflict reset, she worried that charging would be selfish. But when couples told her this saved our marriage, she realized giving it away free meant fewer people valued it. Selling actually made it stick. Selling multiplied the transformation. So hear this, not selling what God put in you is the unspiritual move. Selling it with love is service. Okay, Mark, I hear you. I can hear you guys, but I don't have a big audience. Guys, this lie keeps more kingdom voices quiet than almost anything else. We think impact comes from virality, but in the kingdom, impact comes from obedience. Guys, I'll tell you a story about a church administrator who had a process for onboarding volunteers. She thought no one would care, but she created a simple 60-minute Zoom workshop and emailed 117 people that she knew from past ministry. 18 people bought it at $49. That's $882 in 1 week. And that money paid for her kids' football season and their football gear. And she didn't have an Instagram strategy. She didn't run ads. She didn't need 10,000 followers. She just needed the right 18 people. See, friend, you don't need a stadium. You just need a living room. You don't need 1 million followers. You just need 100 buyers who believe you can help them. See, even Jesus spent more time with 12 than with the multitudes. So guys, don't ever underestimate small numbers. They're seeds. Again, I hear you. But Mark, I hear you on both of those things, but I'm just not a techie person. Guys, this is the excuse that I hear most when someone is right at the edge of stepping out. I don't know the software. I'm not techie. I'll mess it up. let me make this simple. If you can email a PDF and if you can press go live on Facebook, you're already techie enough to launch your first product. See, the myth is that you need polished production and Silicon Valley skill. But the truth is, start ugly, ship version 1. Like, start ugly and just ship the first version of what you've got. See, I know a man who filmed his first $37 course on his iPhone in his kitchen with a wrinkled bed sheet as the backdrop. And guess what? 74 people bought. Why? Because the content solved a problem. See, tools today are drag and drop. You don't need code. You don't need cameras. You need courage. And guess what, guys? Courage is free. See, your first product is not about impressing. It's about serving. Excellence will come, but you cannot refine what you never release. Okay? I hear you, Mark. I know. I'm tracking with you. I'm picking up on what you're putting down. But you still got that lie in your mind that says, what if I fail? See, this is the fear behind all the other fears. What if I try and no one buys? What if I launch and look foolish? Well, here's the truth. You're probably going to fail at first. I did. That's not a curse. That's the process. See, I want to give you what I call the parable of the bakery on day 3. Okay. Day 1, a new baker puts out the sourdough. The loaf is flat, sour, inedible. Customers don't come back. Day 2, it's better, chewier, edible, but still rough. Day 3, he's refined the starter, adjusted the bake. The line is out the door. See, your first offers are practice loaves. They teach you. They toughen you. They refine your recipe. See, guys, excellence is not built in theory. It's built in iteration. It's obedience in motion. See, the only true failure is withholding your grain out of fear. Trying, learning, adjusting, that's how kingdom builders grow. So let's settle this. Selling isn't unspiritual, it's blessed. You don't need a big audience. You need obedience and a seed. You don't need to be techie. You need to be willing. And you don't need to avoid failure. You need to embrace iteration. See, the enemy loves to weaponize excuses. But once you see them as lies, you're free to build. So let me just share this with you. This is the framework that I teach inside of Wise Builders Creator Academy to take what's in your head and turn it into impact and income online. So we'll start with W, worth of wisdom. See, you got to start by identifying the wisdom that's been deposited, the wisdom that God's already placed inside you. What experiences have you lived through? What problems have you solved for yourself or for others? What transformation do people already come to you for? This step is about realizing your story and skills already carry marketable value. Then we move on to I. I is to identify your audience. Who specifically needs what you carry? Not everyone, not the world, a person that you can picture, okay? When you say, like for instance, when I first started, I would say, I help first-time authors launch their book without wasting money or vanity publishers. Or I could have said, I help kingdom entrepreneurs package their wisdom into a profitable product. See, when you say that, you go from vague to valuable, okay? And we want to teach you how to do that. S is structure your offer. Guys, this is where you turn your wisdom into a framework that people can follow. So outline the steps you naturally take. Turn that outline into a product format like an ebook or a course or workshop or challenge. Package it so people see the transformation before they buy. See, because structure builds trust. Friend, people don't buy information, they buy a clear path. Then we move on to D, deliver your solution. This is where you actually build out the product. You create the videos, the workbook, the guide, the templates. Guys, don't overcomplicate this process. Aim for simple, high value, and make it super actionable. And remember, done is better than perfect because done can serve and you can always reiterate. See, delivery creates assets that can sell again and again long after you've made them once. Then we move to O, optimize and offer. It's time to take your product to the marketplace. Refine your messaging so that the promise is clear. Test different price points with integrity. Collect feedback and testimonials to strengthen your positioning. See, guys, the first version doesn't have to be the final version. So every offer can be improved as you continue to take steps forward in your business. Then M, multiply your impact. This is where you shift from one product to a full-scale business. See, this is where you build funnels and email lists and systems so that your product sells 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can add higher ticket options like mentorship and masterminds and events, and you can scale from serving dozens to hundreds and even thousands of people. And remember, multiplication is the kingdom pattern. So your wisdom then becomes a movement. So this is the wisdom method. Worth of wisdom, identifying your audience, structuring the offer, delivering the solution, optimizing your offer, and multiplying your impact. This is the path that takes you from I have wisdom and I have a message to now I have a movement. Guys, I know a bivocational pastor had a decade of sermon content on marriage conflict resolution. He felt weird charging, and we reframed selling as service and built 3 tiers, a $27 PDF and audio platform called 7 Scripts to Stop a Fight Before It Starts. Then we helped him create a $97 30-day Talk to Me challenge with emails and weekly live Q&A. And then we helped him build a $297 couples workshop with a workbook and coaching replay. Guys, think about the outcomes that he got. Couples started reporting de-escalating arguments in under 10 minutes. Date nights revived, testimonies piling up, revenue enough to take his wife on a much-needed getaway paid for by the thing they built together. He said this to me, I wasn't resisting greed, I was resisting multiplication. Guys, the reality is we need some marketplace theology. See, if you look at Luke 19, where we started, the king in the parable expects enterprise in his absence. Jesus tells the parables of the minas. A nobleman goes away to receive a kingdom and tells his servants, do business until I come. Again, the Greek word there is pragmatomia, to trade, transact, engage in enterprise. This wasn't a suggestion, guys. It was a command. And the king's expectation was that while he was gone, his stewards would multiply, not stagnate. See, guys, the practical application here is when Jesus ascended to sit at the right hand of his Father, he didn't say, sit quietly until I return. He said, occupy, build, multiply. Guys, let me say it this way. To do business is not secular, it's obedience. Then if we look at Proverbs 31, we always talk about the Proverbs 31 woman. Guys, Proverbs 31, we see that her ministry is the marketplace. The Proverbs 31 woman isn't just baking bread in her kitchen. She is a full stack operator. She sources when she considers the field. She negotiates because she then buys it. She manufactures because she makes linen garments. She retails because she delivers belts to merchants. She invests because we see that when it says that she plants a vineyard. Guys, this isn't a side hustle for her. This is her enterprise. And Scripture calls that woman virtuous. Guys, if a godly woman in ancient Israel could run supply chains, manufacturing, and retail, then today's kingdom entrepreneurs have biblical precedent to run companies, create products, and steward wealth. And then remember, Deuteronomy 8:18, wealth is covenant fuel. Remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth, that he might establish his covenant. Notice, wealth isn't the finish line. I'm saying it again. It's the fuel line. God empowers his people to create wealth for covenant purposes. It's not about self-indulgence. It's about resourcing his promises on the earth. So guys, when you create business income, you're not just funding your lifestyle. You're fueling the advancement of God's covenant purposes, missions, discipleship, cultural renewal. Then again, we go back to Old Faithful on, if you're listening to this or watching this, Matthew 25, the master commends return on trust, not preservation. In the parable of the talents, 2 servants multiply what they're given. The master says, well done, my good and faithful servant. But to the one who buried his talent, preserving instead of multiplying, got him into trouble. See, the master wasn't angry that he failed. He was angry that he refused to try. See, God doesn't commend passive preservation. He commends active multiplication. Hiding your gifts and your wisdom or your resources in the ground may feel safe, but in the kingdom, it's considered unfaithful. And then if we go back to Proverbs 11:26, where withholding grain is cursed, but selling is blessed, this verse single-handedly dismantles the lie that selling is selfish. People curse the one who withholds the grain, but blessing rests on the head of the one who sells it. See, when you hoard your wisdom, your product, your book, your course, when you refuse to bring it to market, people suffer lack. But when you sell it with integrity, you bless both them and yourself. Because selling is not exploitation, it's provision. It's how grain gets from the silo to the people who are hungry. So guys, taking all of this together, these scriptures reveal a clear marketplace theology and a clear pattern. Jesus commands business. Proverbs esteems enterprise. Deuteronomy makes wealth covenantal. Matthew 25 makes multiplication mandatory, and Proverbs 11 calls selling blessed. See, the marketplace isn't a side alley of discipleship. It's one of its main streets. Business is not secular. It's sacred stewardship. It's one of the primary ways believers demonstrate faithfulness, fruitfulness, build trust, and release kingdom impact. So guys, let me give you 3 done in 7-day blueprints that you can get started with a digital product business ASAP. This one right here is called, I'll call it Blueprint A, is going to be an author accelerator for Christian authors. Ready? So who would this 7-day be for? First-time authors with a finished manuscript but no audience. The promise that you can give is get 500 subscribers in 14 days for your book launch. How are we going to deliver that? A 90-minute workshop plus a checklist plus 10 DM scripts. What are we going to price it for? $47, and then raise it to $97 after first 20 buyers. Then you can do an upsell for $197 small group list build sprint. I'm giving you business ideas right here. This would be a business blueprint for pastors and teachers. We'll call this one the ministry to marketplace map. Who's it for? Bible teachers wanting sustainable income without paywalling sermons. Okay? The promise is to turn one sermon series into a 3-tiered product ladder in 7 days. How can we deliver that? Template pack, slide deck, workbook, checkout copy, plus a 60-minute training. Price that at $97, upsell it to a $297 implementation clinic. Guys, that's a blueprint right there. Blueprint C, Kingdom Business Foundations for Entrepreneurs. Who could it be for? Faith-driven service providers stuck trading time for dollars. Promise, teaching them how to productize their expertise into a $297 mini course this week. How could they deliver it? Outline template, filming checklist, launch emails, 30-minute pricing lessons. Price it at $97, upsell for a $497 boot camp. Guys, I'm telling you, we do this stuff every single day, helping entrepreneurs, authors, pastors, teachers, anybody that has a voice of wisdom. We can show you blueprints for days on how to turn your wisdom into a digital product business. Guys, I even know a general contractor who was drowning in job site hours. He knew estimating better than anyone. And we turned his process into a $49 estimating worksheet with a tutorial, turned his created an estimating masterclass, charged $197 for that for live and the replay. Then we launched a small mentorship group for 8 weeks for $1,000. Guys, he made $4,800 on his first cohort, and his construction bookings improved because leads respected his process. See, digital products didn't replace his business, it leveraged and elevated it. Guys, and all you need really is like a 7-day launch plan, doable, no fluff at all. Let me show you how to do it. Let's break it down. Day 1, I want you to pick the pain. Okay, this will probably take you an hour to brainstorm. Write one sentence. This is going to help you start your digital product business, okay? Day 1, pick the pain, and I want you to write this sentence, and I want you to work on it for like an hour. All the sentence is, I help specific person solve specific pain so that they can, quote unquote, get this outcome. Okay? Work on that one sentence. Day 2, now that you have the pain, now I want you to outline the solution. All you have to do, the solution that we're going to put together here is we're going to create a 90-minute teaching here, a 90-minute video. All you have to do to get this outlined is I want you to develop an intro. I want you to develop 3 steps. I want you to turn that into one worksheet and then give them a next step call to action. Maybe 8 to 10 slides at most, and you're done with a presentation. Day number 3, you're going to actually build, okay? So you're going to create slides, and you're going to create a 1-page PDF checklist, and you're going to set up a simple checkout. You can use companies like Stripe or Go High Level or PayPal even, and you can price a product for anywhere from $27 to $97. Day 4, you're going to list the 100, okay? What does that mean? You're going to write down a list of contacts, church friends, LinkedIn, past clients. Aim for 100 names, okay? Day 5, you're going to send 2 emails and 2 DMs, okay? Email number 1, you're going to put, I made this for you. The why, the what, the when, and a link. DM, when you're DMing them on social media, make it personalized. This would help you with whatever that pain point is. Want the link? And then you post one reel that sells the outcome, not the features, sells the outcome. Tell them what the transformation is. That's day 5. Day 6, you're going to deliver live. You're going to teach, you're going to serve, you're going to do Q&A, you're going to record it, you're going to save the replay plus the chat questions. And then on day 7, you're going to package and relaunch. You're going to upload the replay and the worksheet as a mini course. You're going to bump the price up to $47 to $97. You're going to email a segment who clicked but didn't buy, and you're going to post a testimonial clip for the person who took it the day before on the live. Guys, even if that testimonial clip is 15 seconds, it's super powerful. That's in 7 days. If you would follow that script right there, you could have a digital product and make your first $1,000 online. And guys, let me just show you how to price with integrity real quick. I call it the 2-axis rule, okay? If your product saves time, reduces pain, and creates a result quickly, price it higher, okay? This price with integrity, the 2-axis rule is value access and relationship access, okay? So again, the value is saves time, reduces pain, creates a result quickly, then you can price it higher. But if your relationship to the buyer is warm, like a community or list of people that know you, conversion rates improve. So respect that with clear promises and delivery. Start modest, raise price with proof. As soon as you get more testimonials, completion rates, and outcomes, then you can start raising your prices. Remember, pricing isn't punishment, it's placement. It places your solution in the hands of the committed. And guys, I want to hit you with a final theological picture here. I want you to see this. Distribution is discipleship, okay? God didn't give Joseph dreams so he could hoard the grain. He gave him the interpretation of Pharaoh's dream as a strategy to store and sell in famine. Distribution saved nations. In your lane, distribution looks like publishing, packaging, pricing, and presenting your wisdom so people can access it. If you stay in the silo, families go hungry. So you've got to learn to bring your grain to the market. Guys, I know you got a bunch of questions, but let me answer some common questions. Well, I've heard this. People ask the question, isn't free more Christ-like? Well, here's the answer. Simple. Free is great for awareness, but paid is how people take the content seriously enough to actually implement it in their lives. I also get questions, well, what about prosperity extremes? Okay, guys, well, at the end of the day, in my business, we're not worshiping money. We're weaponizing money as a tool for service, generosity, and time freedom, okay? Other question I get, well, Mark, what if I'm really shy? So what would a person like me do if I'm really shy? Well, guys, products reduce pressure. You don't need to be loud. All you have to do is be clear and consistent. I don't ask people in Wise Builders Creator Academy to start doing TikTok dances to sell their wisdom. No, wisdom has such value and weight to it that when people hear it, they want it. So trust your wisdom, not your personality, okay? Now, let's talk about this. Inside of Wise Builders Creator Academy, this is what I do on an everyday basis. We help you nail your one-sentence promise, build your first product. We can help you build your first product in 7 days. Launch a simple funnel and start your list. Create content that sells without feeling salesy. And we can help you price, package, and scale with integrity. So guys, if you've watched this video, if you've got this far, if you're serious about building a business that funds your dreams and frees your time, I want you to sign up for an application call. And again, this is only if you're serious, only if you're ready to make an investment in yourself, because this is not a discovery call. This is an application call to work with us to see if we do not accept everybody into our program. We've got to find out, do you actually want to do this? Where are you at? Where do you want to go? If we're a good fit to work together, then we'd be happy to bring you into the program and help you build that business of your dreams. All you have to do to apply is go to markcasto.co/academy. That's markcasto.co/academy. Or if you want to go to Instagram or Facebook, all you have to do is comment the word wise or DM me DM me on Instagram or Facebook the word wise, and one of my teammates and team members is going to reach out to you and set up that appointment. Guys, if all you got out of this is what I'm about to say to you, then it is worth it. Bring your grain. Price it with care. Sell it with love. You've got to bring your wisdom. You've got to price it with care. You got to sell it with love. Luke 19:13 says, do business until Jesus returns. Proverbs 11:26 says, those who sell are blessed. So guys, this teaching today is not about chasing clout. It's about serving at scale. So stop withholding, start building, and I'd love to help you.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode. If this spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, leave a review, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss the wisdom that's shifting lives and systems. Until next time, keep building with clarity and fire.